All right. Welcome back to another episode of Winning the Week. Like I said, I'm flying solo this week. I'm John Bauer. What's going on, guys? I see some questions rolling in. I'm going to be getting through all the start sit questions. And then if we have any downtime, discussing some dynasty topics, including 2025 rookie picks. So if you guys have any questions about that, let me know. We'll get to it. All right, Kev, Abdullah versus Javante. Oh, and if my sound is off at all, please let me know in the chat. Want to make sure this is coming across clearly. All right, Kev, Abdullah or Javante? We have Abdullah going against the Broncos. Alexander Madison, he is, at least he was doubtful. And then Zamir White as well. I think we're going to see a lot of Abdullah questions. The matchup actually, it's not that bad. You know, Denver, each and every week I talk about different position groups to exploit whenever you're looking to attack certain defenses. And when it comes to the Denver Broncos defense, it's the running back position. Very stingy against the pass. So I do expect Abdullah to be involved. I think there's going to be involvement in the passing game as well. So we're going to see how much that really entails and how much production. You have to believe that the game script is going to be favoring the passing game. But again, we could see several dump offs there. And then for Javante, well, that's the Broncos-Raiders matchup. Going against that Raiders defense, they are giving up the 7th most points to running backs. It's been very frustrating with the Denver Broncos offense because we don't know each and every week what direction Sean Payton's going to go. And I feel like constantly he's trying to be the smartest guy in the room, and that's not a surprise to anybody. But it was Audric Estimate 2 weeks ago. Last week, Javante got a majority of the work. I'm sure this week we're going to say plug in Javante and Audric's going to be involved, or maybe it's going to be Jaleel week. I'm going Javante here. If we get anything close to last week's usage going against this Raiders defense, it's going to be an easy one for me, despite the long-winded discussion there. So let's go Javante for Kev. Neighbors or Reed? Neighbors going against the Buccaneers defense, who is giving up the 6th most fantasy points to wide receivers. But this New York Giants offense, what is it going to look like with Tommy DeVito stepping in? But more importantly, I think, what is this offense and this team going to look like when you just like from a morale perspective, right? So that's my concern with Neighbors. And also, he's got the groin injury, but apparently he's been dealing with this on and off for quite some time. I think, Jeff mentioned that it goes back to college possibly. So I don't know that we really should be that concerned there. And then Reed going against the 49ers. The 49ers, they're middle of the pack there against wide receivers. I can't see that game being all that high scoring. The implied over-under is 44.5. But then looking at the Giants, that one's even lower. I'm going to go Malik Neighbors here. My concern with the Packers is that this is a big Josh Jacobs game just because we have Brandon Allen stepping in, Brock Purdy out. Who knows how much they're going to have to throw, they being the Green Bay Packers, throw the ball. So let's go Neighbors there. All right, what's up, Dylan? Kyler over Daniels this week. So Washington going against the Cowboys. Like, this could be another situation where they just don't have to throw the ball all that much. But it being a division game, maybe it's pedal to the metal. Their implied total is just under 28 points. So I think we're going to see still a good amount of work from Jaden Daniels, whether it be rushing or passing. And then we have Kyler going against the Seahawks defense. Seattle, middle of pack, 14th against quarterbacks when you look at points given up. Man, we're less than 5 minutes in and I'm already pausing here. Let's go let's go Kyler Murray. I think that game, the 4 o'clock slate, it is the highest total there. It's the second highest implied total on the slate for Sunday early and late games. So let's go Kyler Murray. I do share the concern that Dylan's expressing here that a lot of the points from Washington could be going to the running backs, and maybe he doesn't need to be that involved. So yeah, let's go Kyler. And what I'm hoping is a high scoring game because we have a lot of fantasy relevant players there in Arizona and Seattle. All right, Hayden, what's going on, man? Got a couple here. So Bucky, Dobbins, or D-Hop at flex PPR. Oh man, Baltimore, they're pretty decent against the run. I think I feel like I say to sit Dobbins every week and the dude just scores touchdowns. Bucky going against the Giants, probably going to be a little bit more involved. And then D-Hop going against the Panthers, who have given up the most points to tight ends and running backs, a little bit better against receivers. How much do they have to throw the ball? I'm going to go Bucky here. So out of Bucky, Dobbins, and D-Hop, my order would go Bucky, Dobbins, D-Hop, just as it's listed from Hayden. And then we're going to go, which two would you start between JSN, Marv, Ridley, and Jaden Reed? This sounds like a good problem to have. Discussed Jaden Reed a little bit already. Ridley going against the Texans. They give up a lot of fantasy points to wide receivers. If you watch this show each and every week, I have been starting Ridley pretty much wherever possible. You look at the Trinity score that's available over there at ddfantasyfootball.com, and he's been one of the higher echelon guys when it comes to that metric, which is a combination of team air yard share, yards after the catch, and target share. Marv, I mean, if we're liking Kyler this week against the Seahawks, you would think we're going to like Marv. They're a bottom 12 defense against the pass, against wide receivers. And then JSN sticking in that game. I'm going to go JSN. Give me JSN and Ridley. I had to look off into the distance there to really reach within here. So give me JSN and Ridley there. But again, I think Marv is a good option. Jaden Reed certainly always somebody that's interesting. Storm, what's going on, man? Andrews or Pittman, 0.5 tight end premium, PPR otherwise. Baltimore, talked about it already, going against the Chargers. They are, defensively, they're just tough all the way around pretty much. And then Pittman going against the Lions. You have to think the Colts are going to throw the ball. They're going to have to. So for me, despite the offense, really, the passing game going through Josh Downs as of late, and when I say as of late, pretty much all season when he's been healthy, I'm going to go Pittman here just because I think there's going to be a lot more opportunities, and it's the highest over-under on the day, and then second highest when you include the Ravens and the Chargers. So let's go Pittman. I just don't know how involved Mark Andrews is going to be. Last week we saw an Isaiah Likely week, and it's rarely that we're seeing at this point a true Mark Andrews week. So let's go Pittman. Todd, what's going on, man? I think you've been here pretty much each and every week, so I always appreciate the folks that are in here constantly. Abdullah or Disley at flex, no tight end premium. Give me a sec here. So we're going through. Disley, 4 receptions, 8 receptions, 5 receptions, had a 2 against the Browns, but then 5, 4. There's no tight end premium. I know Abdullah is going to be involved, but what does that game script look like? Talked about that already. So Will Disley going against the Ravens. I'm going to go Will Disley. I know there's no tight end premium, but it wouldn't shock me to see him get 4 or 5 receptions and then possibly find the end zone. But as it typically happens, anytime I say a player is going to find the end zone, I don't think they ever find the end zone in that week. But we're going to go Will Dissly here. Danny, always appreciate that, man. Thank you. Thank you. Don't tell Mitch. All right. Dynasty dumpster fire. Oh, man. Well, we got 2 downs in there. So I don't know if there's a third guy that's supposed to be in there. Let's scroll through here. So just Downs or Hubbard. So this is Chuba's been a pain point for me this week. Going against the Kansas City defense, they are the toughest against running backs, right? But at the same time, Chuba has been one of those running backs that has been involved in the passing game. We look back, 4 receptions, 2. He's got a 5, 4, 4, 5, 4. Like he's got 30 receptions on the season already. But Jonathan Brooks is coming back. How involved is he going to be? We know Miles Sanders just hit IR, again, not knowing really what he would have taken away from Chuba here. Just because, like we talk about that Colts-Lions game, I think it is going to be higher scoring. The Lions give up a lot of points to wide receivers. They're bottom 8 there. I'm going to go Josh Downs. I don't know how involved Chuba is going to be in the passing game, and because of that, because of the way Kansas City operates against running backs for fantasy purposes, let's go Josh Downs there. All right, Big Diaz. What's going on, man? All right, Greg, 4-point passing touchdown. Kyler or Herbert? Oh my goodness. Oh, I'm going to go Kyler. 4-point passing touchdown. That swings me to Kyler. Otherwise, I think I would be leaning Justin Herbert. But yeah, let's go Kyler there. All right, Dubo, another familiar name. Brian Robinson or Tyron Tracy. Tracy going against the Buccaneers. We've talked about that a little bit already. The bottom 6 in pretty much every category when you look at points given up to quarterbacks, running backs, receivers, and tight ends. And then we got Brian Robinson going against the Cowboys, who they're bottom 3 against running backs. This is a great problem to have. I would really be interested to see who your other options are. And if you're thinking about benching either Brian Robinson or Tyron Tracy, I got to think this is possibly a redraft league and you just don't have anybody else to bench. But again, this is a good problem to have. I'm going to go Brian Robinson. I think it's going to be a nice Austin Eckler week. I think it's going to be a nice Brian Robinson week. The Giants, unless you're Malik Neighbors, and you have options like Brian Robinson at running back, Tyron Tracy is going to be a tough one to play for me just because of what we see from that Giants team. How much are they willing to fight? So we'll see how that goes. Danny, really appreciate it. Sometimes you just have to pick a side and back your guy. Mitch is great. Listen. Hopefully he's not watching this. He's on his cruise. He shouldn't be paying attention to this right now anyway. All right. Hopefully Mitch has a drink in hand better than this coffee I have. Patrick, always appreciate you, man. Superflex PPR, no premium. Start 2, Dallas Goedert, Jacoby Myers, Brandon Allen. Oh, man. Brandon Allen going against the Packers, but they are down a few key defenders. I know Alexander is out. And I believe there was a linebacker out as well. The name is slipping me right now. But we got Brandon Allen against the Packers. So that matchup, not terrible. But then we got Dallas Goedert against the Rams, who give up the 7th most points to tight ends. I know it is a non-premium league, but with Devontae Smith out, I have to lean Dallas if going between him and certainly Brandon Allen. And I love Jacoby Myers, but we've talked about that Denver defense, and I think it's going to be a certain week for him, for Jacoby. So you talked about him being Jacoby, a player that I was looking to sit maybe last week. I would be looking to sit him as well this week. So let's go Dallas Goedert despite no tight end premium. Jaden Daniels, Kyler Murray, talked about that earlier as well. 6-point touchdowns, 4-point touchdowns. I'm going to lean Kyler there. Okay, pick 2, and now Stevenson is involved. Stevenson going against the Dolphins defense. I'm going to go with Stevenson over Hubbard this week, and I already talked about Downs. So between those 3 choices, it's Downs, Stevenson, Chuba for me, and that's the order I would go. Lurs, what's going on? Start 2, PPR, Neighbors, JSN, and Reed. I'm going to sit Reed here. Kind of talked about some of these guys earlier. Neighbors, groin injury. He's been dealing with that. What's the offense going to look like? I hope Tommy DeVito just absolutely force feeds him the ball. And then JSN, he's been a good play. I like Reed a lot, obviously, but how much are they going to have to throw against the 49ers without Brock Purdy? So let's go Neighbors, JSN. Different league for J-Dub, Herbert or Kyler. See, the 6-point passing touchdowns, I'm going to switch here to Herbert. I still think we're talking about two top 10 plays this week, but give me Justin Herbert going Monday night against the Baltimore Ravens in what I hope is going to be a really high scoring matchup. You got both Harbaughs going at it. Hopefully that's a fun game and we get a nice island game. Ghost Man. Should I drop Abdullah and pick up Devin Singletary for a stack? Again, I'm thinking this is a redraft league. If I'm not playing Abdullah this week, he shouldn't be on your roster. Again, from a redraft perspective. The only reason you have him is because Madison and Zamir White are out. So if you're just keeping him and you're not playing him, pick up Devin Singletary. If you're playing Amir Abdullah, keep Abdullah this week and see how that goes. Bills Mafia. Bucky Irving or Rachaad White. This is like the $1 million question each and every week. You get these backfields like a Bucky and Rachaad, a Najee and Jalen Warren, where you have a 1-2 punch and it's like middle. I don't want to say middle tier options, but it's not elite options where you're talking about a backfield like Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery. With that said, or bench both and start Eckler. It's super flex with Henry at running back 1. Only need 1. Let's go Buccaneers going against the Giants. I'm going to go Bucky this week because I think Rachaad is still going to be involved in the passing game, but we've seen the utilization involving Bucky Irving when they get inside the 10 and inside the 5, and I think they're going to have a lot of opportunities there. So let's go Bucky. Tomorrow, what's going on? Debo or Jennings? I'm going to go Debo here because I think that, the way he can be utilized, I like Jawan Jennings a lot, but I would like him. If it were Brock Purdy playing, I would go Jawan Jennings. But with Debo, with his ability to be used in the running game and the way I expect this game to go, I think we might see some underneath opportunities for Debo. Let's go Debo there instead of Jennings. Andrews or Theo Johnson. I can't. Just because it's going to be a high scoring game, give me Andrews. The matchup isn't great. You have the Giants going against the Buccaneers. Talked about them being bottom 6 against every position. But just because but if Neighbors were to get his groin aggravated there, you know what? Let's go Theo. All right, let's go Theo against Mark Andrews. Dr. B. Harris, what's going on? Pittman or D-Hop? I like Pittman today. There you go. Sorry for the error. That's all right. That's all right. Cliff, good morning, good people. What's up? All right, spam. All right, Phil. Will McBride finally get a receiving touchdown? Going against Seattle. Let's see, 2024. Trey McBride going against the Seahawks, right? Yeah, Seahawks. They're giving up. They've given up 15 passing touchdowns. You know what? I think McBride does find the end zone today. Just a hunch. Just a hunch. Love or Baker? Kev, I know it's tough for you to ask this question because I know how much you love Baker. +6 -2. And then we got 0.25 -0.15 for completions and incompletions. Baker going against the Giants. Again, I just think it's going to be a game where they can run the ball. Love going against the 49ers, where I don't know how much they're going to have to throw. 49ers, all right. Let's go. No, let's go Baker here. He's got his guy back. He's got Mike Evans back. Yes, he's probably not going to play 75% plus of the snaps, but even at 50, 60, 70%, I still like that stack today. Let's go Baker. Kev, what's going on? With Goff as my quarterback, do I play Jamison Williams or Mike Evans? The Indianapolis Colts, they're middle of the pack against wide receivers. No, I can't sit Evans. I just think he gives you too much of a ceiling. I know Jamison Williams. That's why you have him on your roster. He gives you those splash games. He gives you the high ceiling opportunities. But for me, I cannot bench Mike Evans, even if there is that concern with him coming back with the hamstring and how's that going to be moving forward. But give me Mike Evans. Been holding this coffee for 22 minutes and just need to get one quick sip here. All right. B Hart dressing up. I walked through the door at 10:55, got things set up very quickly. We were taking Christmas card pictures and you had to look good. Okay. So I tried my best. Testing out the Thanksgiving dinner outfit, seeing the reception he gets. Well, I have jeans on today, Danny. At Thanksgiving, got to go with the stretchy waistband. You have to. You can't mess around. Monkey, what's going on? Hey, that was Mitch. The shout out here. Thanks for convincing me to start Taysom over Henry. If I remember correctly, I said Hunter Henry, but Mitch was a big Taysom Hill advocate. So we'll give him his flowers here. All right, Flowosaurus, PPR, Lockett or Nick Westbrook. I like the Nicky. I'm going to go Westbrook. Lockett just hasn't given us what we're looking for with the real emergence of JSN. Got to go Westbrook there. Even though it might just be 2 or 3 opportunities, Westbrook has shown that he can give you a splash play, even if it's a broken, 98-yard touchdown. Jeremiah, what's up, man? Calvin Ridley or Marvin Harrison? Goes back to that question earlier. I got to go Calvin Ridley. Pittman or Reed? If those are my options, no, I'm going to stick with Pittman here. Give me Pittman. Spam. Jeez, oh man. Tommy, what's up? 8-point underdog, Bateman or Noah Brown in a full PPR. I'm going to go Bateman. I think he just has the potential there to pop off a big play. I know Noah Brown, you could certainly say that for him as well. But going against Dallas, I really like Eckler today, like I mentioned. I really like Brian Robinson. So let's go with Bateman there. Both really desperation plays, but why not? All right, George, what's up? PPR Flex 2, Estime, already playing Javonte, Benson, Vele, Nick Westbrook. Benson, let's see here. It's a nice matchup against Seattle. Obviously, James Conner still probably getting a majority of the work, but Benson has been getting a little bit more involved. Denver going against the Raiders. They're not horrendous against wide receivers. A lot of the points, even though quarterbacks are scoring points against them, a lot of the points going to tight ends. and running backs. I would go Benson and Nick Westbrook. And again, I know this comes down to how much do we think Estime and Javonte are going to be involved? What does that split look like? But I'm going to go Benson and Westbrook. Veli, I like him, but just in this specific matchup, not somebody I want to go with here. Nick, what's up? DJ Moore or Worthy, full PPR, 0.2 points per first down. I think this is the first Bears question. Bears going against the Vikings. The Vikings are extremely tough against running backs. I expect the Bears, especially if that usage continues from last week with DJ Moore. I think when you look at the range of outcomes, there are certainly situations where DJ Moore is outscored by Xavier Worthy this week. But I can't take this fucking spam. Holy shit. I apologize for the language, but that just drives me nuts. All right. Let's go with DJ Moore. I went DJ Moore, and I'm all fired up over here. Adam, PPR pick one. Dobbins. I'll take Dobbins if that is my only. Here we go. Dobbins, Bucky, Tracy, Dan, the moderator, Dan, the good Samaritan of the Dynasty Theory group. I know, man. I know. I apologize. I'm sorry. Language. All right, Adam, PPR pick one. Dobbins, Bucky, Tracy. Bucky. I'll go Bucky here. And then Dan saying it can be a Noah Brown revenge game. Diggs also out in Dallas secondary. It can get ugly today. I know. I mean, nobody knows as well as you, Dan, how ugly things can get for Dallas very quickly. All right. Knicks or Daniels for QB? Mitch, you're on, get back to your cruise, dude. You should have a drink in hand. All right. Come on. All right. Knicks or Daniels? Denver, Raiders. And then we got Daniels. Daniels, it's a tough one for me today just because of Knicks has just been so good. Not to say Daniels hasn't. Let's clarify there. I would go with I'm going to go Daniels. I'll go Daniels here. Let's see. All right, some news coming in. Malik Neighbors' groin will play. Let me see if I missed anything else here while I'm rambling. So it looks like Christian Gonzalez for the Patriots going against the Dolphins. He is a game time decision here. He's going through a workout on the field. If he's out, certainly looks better for that Dolphins offense. So let's go. I mean, that's not even with this question, but obviously it would help out Tyreek Hill. But yeah, let's go Daniels. I think I said it already, but Cobra, let's go Daniels over Knicks. Don't let this spam distract the people from the elite sweater over the dress shirt move. Normally it's a t-shirt, but I said I just came in from getting our family Christmas card pictures. All right, Patriot fan. Disley or Waddle in the flex, no tight end premium. At least once a week, I say, like, this is where we are with some of these guys, right? Will Disley going against the Ravens. They're not great against tight ends. Waddle going against the Patriots. Just talked about Christian Gonzalez being a game time decision. Like, one of these games, Waddle has to pop off, right? I'm going to go Waddle. I think when we talk about the median range of outcomes, the ceiling and the floor, I like what Waddle can give you here, despite we really haven't seen it. Give me Jalen Waddle. Eckler or Javonte Williams. I like both of these matchups today. Talked about Eckler going against the the dreadful Dallas Cowboys, and then Javonte Williams going against the Raiders, who give up the 7th most points to running backs. Let's go Javonte. But I like both plays today. Harmo, PPR, Superflex spot, Cooper Rush, DJ Moore, or Rico Dowdle. I would go Rush. I'll go Cooper Rush. He still gave you something last week, and I think he's going to give you something this week. And he's going to have to, they're going to have to pass. So let's go Cooper Rush. It's not sexy by any means, but yeah, let's go Cooper. All right. Good morning. Many bye weeks and soft start by Pickens for me. Looking for advice on 2 flex and 1 tight end, full PPR, Jawan Jennings, Ladd McConkey. So Ladd McConkey, I think he was dinged up a little bit, but like it's really tough not to go McConkey. So what I would do here, I'm going to go Downs and McConkey. You have Disley. Oh, well, we need a tight end too. All right. So what I would do here in the flex spots, let's go McConkey and Downs. In the tight end spot, let's go Jonnu Smith. I think realistically, Jonnu and Disley probably give you similar output. There we go. I give you similar output. So let's go Jonnu at tight end. But then if McConkey for some reason doesn't go tomorrow night, we still have Disley on our bench and we can throw him in. So McConkey, Downs, Jonnu Smith, and then just pay attention to see what happens with McConkey tomorrow night. And you have Disley to throw in at your flex. Cliff, always appreciate you, man. Jen, sit 1 in PPR. Lamb, Tracy, Metcalf, JSN. I always hate having these situations where we're pitting 2 players on the same team. I had a question earlier. It was Debo, Jawan Jennings, Downs and Pittman situations. If you're deciding between DJ Moore and Rome Odunze or Bucky and Rashad White, like those questions. Here, let's see. Actives. DeAndre Swift and Keenan Allen, they're both active. Mike Evans, active. Tyler Smith on the offensive line for the Cowboys, inactive. Malik Neighbors, active. So I don't know if we're getting any surprises in these 1 o'clock games. But again, just keep an eye out here over the next hour and a half. Let's see. So Lamb, Tracy, Metcalf, JSN. I was going on my rant about deciding between 2 players that are on the same team. I'm going to go. We're playing Lamb. Like, I think sitting one of Metcalf or JSN, it gives you the higher ceiling play. But we've seen games where both have produced, and they're going against the Cardinals defense, who, I think this could be a nice high-scoring game and maybe save that 4 o'clock slate for everybody because we got the Broncos, Raiders, 49ers, Packers on the other games. I would sit... Yeah, let me see something really quick before I answer this question. Let me see. I want to look at one of the wide receiver matchups here. Going over to Fantasy Points, they have a really good resource there. And you look at the wide receiver cornerback matchups. And I know PFF has a good one as well. But when we're looking at the Seattle receivers, I am going to go with... I'm going to go with DK. I'm going to go with DK Metcalf. Looks like a more favorable matchup. And then you have Jackson Smith and Jigba. The slot corner there, Garrett Williams. He's limiting opportunities. 13% targets per route run. Targets per route run. And yeah, let's sit. Oh, man. Let's sit JSN. This might be one of my more difficult questions. So thanks for that, Jen. Thanks a lot. So sit 1. Let's sit JSN. Let's go Metcalf, Tracy, and Lamb. All right, Nick. Full PPR, 0.2 per first downs. Is it worth dropping someone to play Laporta over Dobbs or just roll out Romeo? Drop candidates would be MVS, Engram, Kraft. I don't want to roster 3 tight ends if there's no premium. If you want Laporta over Kraft, I'm fine with that. But also, I know MVS has given us some splash games. Are you starting him? Especially if it's a redraft league, which I'm assuming here, because otherwise Laporta probably not available on waivers. I would hope not. MVS or Kraft. I mean, Tucker Kraft, the last, let's see. Yeah. I would pick up Laporta, but then just MVS or probably MVS I drop, but like I hate having 3 tight ends. So I would try to figure something else out there possibly. Greg, thanks, man. Javonte or Estime? Just kidding. Or are you? Or are you just maybe you're just kidding about looking sharp. That's okay. Let's go, Javonte. B Hart, Jacoby, Josh Downs, or DJ Moore. Josh Downs. Like Josh Downs at this point needs to be treated as an every week starter. So let's go. Let's go, Josh Downs. All right. Let's see here. Dell or Downs. Also pick up Jonathan Brooks or a kicker. My kicker has a bye soon. I mean, I'm playing Downs again every week. Must start. The Jonathan Brooks or a kicker question. I don't know. Whatever feels right. Eric, Flex 1, PPR, Hopkins, Laporta, Hawkinson. Let's see. Hawk going against the Bears. Don't love that matchup. Let's go Laporta here, even with no tight end premium. All right, Cody, what's up, man? Swift, Keenan, Evans, Neighbors, all officially active. And this is where I need Mitch, because as you all know, if you've watched previously, I just click, get a comment up on the screen here, and then I start reading it without even reading it first. Probably should read some comments first. I thought this was going to be a start sit question, but yes, all officially active. Be hard. Don't laugh at Greg. Come on. Adam, what's up? Eckler or Downs, half PPR? Give me Downs. Oh, Greg, appreciate you. Come on. You're too kind. You're going to make me blush. All right. While we have a second here, if no start sit questions are coming up, I go through my players of interest that I always have on the sheet here that I think many questions were going to come up about. I'm surprised we haven't seen any Tommy DeVito questions. I thought we'd see an Anthony Richardson question at least a few times here, but maybe it's a situation where we just didn't have any other options. Same with Sam Darnold. That's a tough matchup. Bryce Young, I thought we'd have some questions about Bryce. Nothing yet. Tony Pollard, like I love Tony Pollard, but this is a tough matchup. I've talked about this before. Going against the Texans defense, they're not a pushover when it comes to running backs that they've been going against. So Tony Pollard, I think he's still a guy that you need to flex, but if you have other running backs available, it's just something I would keep an eye on. And then Kareem Hunt, he's a must play for me today. We have Isaiah Pacheco out again. The Chiefs, they're going against the Panthers defense, who have given up the most points to running backs. So I did Kareem Hunt, somebody, if you have him, I think he needs to be somebody that needs to be in your lineup pretty much guaranteed. All right, Patrick. Sit 1. Zay Flowers. There's Tony Pollard right on cue. Tony Pollard, DeAndre Hopkins, Zay Flowers. Out of those options, I'm sitting DeAndre Hopkins, and this is one that might come back to bite me. But out of all the questions we've had several that include DeAndre Hopkins. He's been an easy sit for me. I'm not thrilled with the matchup. And then you're looking at the cornerback, like he has like a favorable matchup from a team perspective and from a matchup perspective specifically, but like I just think game script, it's not going to be a game where they need to throw a ton. I think this game is going to get out of hand early, and so I would stay away from Hopkins, especially if you have other options. And despite me saying the matchup for Tony Pollard was tough, I still think we're going to see a nice workload with Tyjae Spears inactive this week. Kyle's, what's up? Rush or DeVito? Give me old Danny DeVito. Give me Tommy. I'm going to go Tommy DeVito this week. I like the matchup. I think he's going to push the ball down the field. And as long as Malik Neighbors doesn't aggravate the injury, I think we're going to get a nice concentrated, consolidated, whatever words you want to use, target share to the top weapons there. Todd, May or Darnold? Patriots going against the Dolphins. They've been tough against quarterbacks, but Drake May, he gives you the upside with the legs. And then Darnold going against the Bears. Let's go Drake May here. I think any format, +6, -2, +4, -2, doesn't matter. I would go Drake May. Nick, not starting any of those drop guys. Currently have Laporta, Engram, and Kraft on my bench. I see. Oh, okay. I mean, if Brooks is on waivers, I would look to pick him up. But yeah, like with Engram, Laporta, I dump Kraft, even though Kraft has been producing probably better than Laporta, but just I can't have 3 tight ends. Patrick, A-Rich or Tua? I think the game is gonna I've been talking about Don's being a must start. I've picked Pittman in several options. I expect that Colts Lions game to be one of the higher scoring games on the slate, but I think the Lions defense could also cause some problems, and we could see a turnover or 2 from Anthony Richardson. And maybe last week that game and his efficiency was an anomaly and not so much a trend that's just getting started. And then with Tua going against the Patriots, it's +2 +4 for passing touchdowns, but talked about Christian Gonzalez being a game time decision for the Patriots. Maybe he misses a key piece to that defense. I would go Tua, even in +4, I think. We know Anthony Richardson gives you the ceiling. If you're a big dog in this matchup, go Richardson. So this is me hedging. Have to get at least a few hedges in every episode. Otherwise, give me Tua. Cliff, Panthers rookie wide receiver Jalen Coker isn't active today, while wide receiver Adam Thielen is active. Good call there. Thanks for throwing that out there. Adam Thielen, he's an interesting one. We haven't seen anything here, obviously just coming back, but if you are in a pinch, Adam Thielen going against that Chiefs defense, like we talked about earlier, who's extremely tough against running backs. Like if I'm deciding between Adam Thielen and DeAndre Hopkins, that type of situation, I would lean Adam Thielen today. Let me see. Week 12 fantasy rankings. Let's just go over to, let's use Fantasy Pros. If we're looking at full PPR, I'm sure Adam Thielen is super low. Yeah, wide receiver 53. DeAndre Hopkins, where is he? Wide receiver 29. Like I would stand on that. I would go Adam Thielen over DeAndre Hopkins despite that big discrepancy. Greg also with the DeVito or Rush question. Or he's just saying, if you have those 2 options, welcome to buy hell. Yeah, but let's still go DeVito. Goff, Murray. Oh man, like The Lions offense has just been so fun. I love how 1 PPR is added here. I think I call out one of those every week. And I always joke, like, if it was non-PPR, I'd go this quarterback. But yeah, it's a dumb joke. I have to entertain myself sometimes. Goff or Murray? I'm going to go Goff. Like, can I get the scoring there, Entree? Can I get the scoring there as well? Let's revisit that. Hunt over Javonte or Dobbins? Yeah, like fire up Hunt. I think he's a top 12 play today. Maybe top 8. Yeah, let's see where. Okay, which I don't, Fantasy Pros going back to just their high level rankings. They have Hunt running back 11. So not crazy. Jonnu Smith or Hunter Henry? Getting a lot of Dolphins Patriots questions here. So Hunter, he's going up. Same matchup. Between those two, let's go Hunter Henry. I think, you talk about Jonnu Smith, Will Dissly, Hunter Henry types. I think they all could be in that range, like 8 to 15 when you look at it for tight ends this week. But let's go Hunter Henry. Here's a DeVito one. PPR +4 -1. DeVito, Javonte, Pollard start 2. Sit Pollard. Cows. He's just saying I'm shit. But there are worse situations this week. That's how ugly it is. There are worse situations than having to put Tommy DeVito in your lineup because of all the buys, all the injuries. Like, why do they keep scheduling these weeks where we have 6 buys? Just stop. Falcons, Bills, Bengals, Saints, Jets, Jaguars, all of these guys, like all of these teams, and then like high profile fantasy players. Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Joe Burrow, Bijan Robinson, Drake London, Josh Allen. Like, come on. Taysom Hill. How are you going to take away Taysom Hill from us this week? Greg, what's up? Andrews or Kraft? Andrews. Love or Darnold? Or is that Aaron Donald? I don't know. Let's go Love. Love today instead of Darnold. Dobbins or Ridley, 0.5 PPR. Ridley. And then back to Entree Potato. I love that name. 6-point touchdowns, -2 for interceptions. And the question was Goff or Murray. Let's go Goff. I want Goff. Let's see. All right. No questions right now. Looking back, talking about some of those players that I thought were going to come up, a lot of Downs and Pittman, Mike Evans. Like Mike Evans, it's such a tough one. I always talk about this. I am very conservative when it comes to playing players that, they're coming back from injury, especially a soft tissue type thing. But with Mike Evans, even and we're not expecting a full complement there of snaps played. Like I still think Mike Evans just against the Giants, the upside is too high. So if you're thinking about the concern there, yeah, I mean it's certainly within the range of possibilities and outcomes that Mike Evans, maybe he sees 30 to 40% of the snaps, especially if this game gets ugly very early. But it's just going to be somebody that I have to play. Just talking about Mike Evans there for a second, waiting for a few more questions to trickle in. From Anthony, Waddle or Wandale, half PPR. I'll go Waddle. Danny saying I got to start DeVito and Brandon Allen today. It's so disgusting. Ridley, Hopkins, or Mike Evans? I love this question. My order would go, I just talked about Mike Evans. My order would go Ridley, Evans, tier break, Hopkins. So I would go Ridley here. Risk it with DeAndre Swift or Rico Dowdle. So the DeAndre Swift situation, it's interesting because we have been getting a lot of involvement here, more and more so, from Roschon Johnson. And it's one of those backfields we just don't necessarily know how that split is going to play out. But DeAndre Swift still being involved, still producing for fantasy purposes. So the Bears going against the Vikings, in honor of Mitch, even though he bailed on me this week because, you know, he's on vacation, and I certainly don't blame him. I would have bailed on myself. In honor of Mitch, I'm going to go Rico Dowdle because Swift going against that Minnesota Vikings defense, who is now dropped to the second toughest matchup against running backs for fantasy purposes. So I'm going to go Dowdle going against Washington. Not necessarily a defense I'm afraid of when it comes to running backs going against them. And you have to think that Rico Dowdle, he's going to be involved. So even though we saw, several running backs get opportunities last week, let's go Rico Dowdle. Jacoby or Nuke. Let's go Jacoby. But I grimace because they're going against Denver. Probably going to get Surtain quite a bit. They're going to have to throw the ball. No, let's go Jacoby. I'll stick with it. Are you rostering Brooks over Sharb, Benson, Estime? Sharb, yes. My order there would be Benson, Estime, Sharb. Like I think as the season progresses here, we're getting down to the nitty gritty here in week 12. But Benson and Estime, they could still have some standalone opportunities. I don't know if we're going to get that from Zach Charbonnet. We, knock on wood, it doesn't happen. But you would need Kenneth Walker to be out of the picture there. So Brooks over Charbonnet, I'll do that. All right, given your Hopkins versus Thielen position, here's one. Start 2 PPR from Kev. Hopkins, Worthy, Thielen. Assume you're benching Worthy. This is like Worthy could just pop off like 2 targets, 1 rushing attempt, and get 2 touchdowns. Like it could be one of those games for Worthy. If I need ceiling, I would go Worthy and Thielen. If I'm looking for middle range outcomes, I would go Hopkins and Thielen. So you got to figure out there how your matchup is looking. But if you need upside, Worthy is in my lineup. All right, cows. Start 2, Dell, Abdullah, Goddard, or Kittle. All PPR, no premium. Texans going against the Titans. The Titans are pretty solid against against wide receivers. I'm going to go Dallas Goedert, Devontae Smith out. Oh, I'm a little scared of these San Francisco pass catchers. What is it going to look like? Brandon Allen coming in. Packers defense, we talked about how there are a few injuries there on the defensive side of the ball in Green Bay. I would go Goddard and Dell for, let's go Goddard and Kittle. If I'm deciding between Dell, Abdullah, Goddard, and Kittle, even with no premium, but PPR, give me the 2 tight ends. Pittman or Jawan Jennings this week, I will go Pittman. Just think it's going to be a higher scoring game. They're going to have to throw against Detroit. and Jawan Jennings. We just talked about San Fran pass catchers, a little bit worried there. Yeah, I'll go Pittman. Tyler, pick up Jonathan Brooks or Trey Benson rest of season. I think Trey Benson. You know, I think Benson over Brooks rest of season. George, what's going on? 12-team Superflex 1.5 tight end premium. I have Josh Allen and Jalen Hurts. Would you trade May for Pickens and a 27 first in Minshew? And you get the third with May. 12-team Superflex, Pickens, 27 first. May, you have Allen and Hurts. Unless you're tanking, and this is something I've talked about previously, unless you're actively tanking, storing more value in the quarterback position, especially quarterback 3 and beyond, is something I don't love to do. So it makes sense here, even though like Pickens, he's a nice wide receiver too to have. If I'm going over to my tiers, which are part of DD Fantasy Football, and we got, listen, DD Fantasy Football, there's the War Machine, there's the Trinity Tool on the website, the Discord, there's 8 bonus shows every single week only for Discord members. And then the conversations, and then I have my Dynasty Theory tiers available. Use code Theory for the first month. Go over to the website, the link's in the episode description. $7.50. One less large Starbucks special drink, come check it out. If you don't like it, bounce, but come check it out. I think you're going to enjoy it. But anyway, my tiers are part of that. And if I'm going in there and I'm doing Drake May for Pickens and I have values included in there, you know what? I would want something a little bit more. Give me Drake May. I think we've seen enough that he, maybe he's not going to be one of the upper echelon absolute fantasy studs like a Josh Allen, but not many quarterbacks can be. I'm going to go Drake May. I think we've seen enough. The 27 first is too far out. And Pickens, ultimately, I like Pickens, but he's a replaceable wide receiver too at this point in time. Gus or Amir? Amir. Give me Amir Abdullah. Like that Ravens Chargers matchup, Diaz got me thinking here. I'm looking at it. I'm like, all right, Gus going against the Chargers. No. Gus is a Charger. He's going against the Ravens. It's like backfield swap there. You got both running backs going over. Hit report. I've hit report Kyle's. I've hit ban. I keep banning them. I got mad earlier. Dan's in the chat, creeping, yelling at me for using some language. You know what? I'm sorry. Bye week problems. Oh, there's a lot. Patrick, I appreciate you, man. If you're watching, hit like. It helps us out. Just hit like on the video. It takes a second. We appreciate everybody. Anthony, final question. Keep them coming. Keep them coming. Pittman or Waddle? I would go Pittman today. Pick 2. Justice Hill, Veli, Dobbs, Douglas, Estime. Patriots going against the Dolphins. Miami Dolphins tough against wide receivers. Douglas, he's been okay. I think he's just one of those middle of the range kind of guys this week. Dobbs, he always gives you touchdown upside. Give me Justice Hill and Romeo Dobbs. Roshan or Estime this week. The Bears, like going against the Vikings, but I feel more confident in Roshan Johnson's workload this week than Audric Estime. But Denver, they got the Raiders. They got the nice matchup against running backs. If it gets out of hand early, maybe Javonte scores his, Estime gets involved. Give me Estime over Roshan this week. And a lot of it comes down to that Minnesota running defense. Dobbs or Hunter Henry, 0.5 PPR for wide receivers, PPR for tight ends. Talk about the Miami defense, really tough against wide receivers, not as tough against tight ends. I'm going to go Hunter Henry with the tiered PPR. And a slightly tougher matchup, still middle of the pack for the most part, but San Fran against Green Bay. I'm going to go Hunter Henry. Yeah, I agree, Eric Kaus. Abdullah has a nice 7 to 8 point floor if you want just that. Half PPR, no premium. Jacoby or Mark Andrews? Give me Mark Andrews. Even with Surtain, no, give me Jacoby. I'm going to flip flop there. Give me Jacoby. Keenan Allen or Abdullah? Abdullah. Roshan or Brooks? Roshan. Who do I start with 3 slots available? Waddle, Bateman, Dell, Lockett, Worthy. Waddle, Dell, and Worthy. Stafford at Philly or Geno versus Arizona? I want Geno. Like Stafford, I have a 25% exposure across my dynasty portfolio with Matthew Stafford. If I have other options, I'm going to be sitting him. And Geno Smith is one of those options that I feel comfortable putting in. I think that Arizona Seattle game could be a little bit higher scoring. Maybe that's wishful thinking to save that 4:00 slate. But yeah, let's go Geno Smith. And then Patrick, half PPR, Rome or Jennings? I think I missed the answer earlier. Honestly, I may have skipped the question, and I apologize. Maybe it's when I was going off about spam. I don't know. Oh, Bears, Vikings, Minnesota. You know what? Roma Dunze today. Give me Rome. I need to get a touchdown prop in here when I wrap up here. If anybody has any prop bets that they've done today, like touchdown specifically, I always like the touchdown props. I don't know why. And they never win because I always like parlay 8 together. I think last week I did a 6-player one. I think 3 out of 6 hit. Might have only been 2. But if you have any that you really like today, who scores a touchdown? Doesn't it just who scores a touchdown? Let me know. Drop it in the chat. Maybe I'll take like my 4 favorites and put them together in a parlay. And not stealing away from our guys over in the DD Fantasy Football Discord. Every Friday night, I think it's at 9 p.m. They put together a great show, Bets and Sweats. And it's a fun conversation each and every week. We got B-Rob. We got 2 B-Robs right away. Let's see. Oh, here we go, Patrick. Kareem, Downs, Jacobs, DK. I don't hate that. You know what? Let me jot these down here because I will forget. Let's see here. All right, KW3 going against Arizona. Arizona, they've given up a rushing touchdown per game. Okay, I can get behind that. So let's go KW3. Let's go B-Rob. Hertz has done it 5 games in a row, I think. Let's go Hertz. Let's go Kareem. Let's see. This is where I get in trouble because I'm like, oh, let's go my 2 favorite, 3 favorite, 4, and then I'm like 10 players deep, So yeah, that's probably how it's going to end up going. And then DK, we said, okay, all right. Let's see here. Don't worry, Kaz. I'll get back to that defense question from Shawnee. What's going on? Flex, Neighbors or Laporta? Neighbors. We just haven't seen enough usage, even with the tiered PPR here, to want to go Laporta. And I think Neighbors, despite being injured, the groin, like I said earlier, it sounds like it's something he's been dealing with on and off anyway. So give me Neighbors and what we're expecting to be a very concentrated target share. Washington defense versus Dallas or Tampa Bay at the Giants. Washington. Let's go Washington. Yeah, that's how I would go. Again, I think those are 2 really good options. Win-win. Yes. All right. Tight ends. I thought Noah Gray actually might come up in like ugly situations because it's going to be a very nice matchup against the Panthers. They might go up early. Maybe Noah Gray gets some run. The Andrews likely matchup, I don't love it against the Chargers. Schoonmaker, there are situations where with Jake Ferguson being out in Dallas, Schoonmaker might come to the rescue here and give me 10 to 12 points in tight end premium formats. He's got a decent matchup against the Commanders, who have given up, they're 19th in most points given up to tight end. So I think that could be interesting. And Kansas City, we talk about positions to exploit against that defense. It's tight end. And I think Jatavion Sanders could be an interesting play this week. Let's see. Nick Westbrook, Sterling Shepard, Jordan Addison, Lockett, Noah Brown, Kraft need 1.75 tight end premium. Let's get through these options here. Not Shepard. Not Lockett. Not Kraft. I don't like the matchup today for Kraft. So Nick Westbrook, Jordan Addison, Noah Brown, those are my three. Oh, man. I'm mentally exhausted after that one, DS. All right, Todd, Roschon or Pittman, 0.2 points per carry, full PPR for wide receivers. Hate the matchup against the Vikings run defense. Give me Michael Pittman. Big Diaz, there we go. We got the stack too with Noah Brown. So with Jaden Daniels. B-Rob scores. It sounds like a clean sweep here for B-Rob finding the end zone. So let's, like I said, Kenneth Walker, B-Rob, Hurts, Kareem, Downs, DK. If there's any other guys that you think are going to find the end zone today, drop in the chat. Goff or Herbert, really good problem to have. I think Herbert's going to have to throw more, probably. Let's go Herbert. Costi, Veli, Nick Westbrook, or Abdullah. I'm going to sit Veli. Downs or Pollard? Downs, even in 0.5 PPR. And Mike, appreciate you. I know you're in the chat every week. That is a name that I did not forget because you got me to say it out loud the first week. Never again. Never again. Cody, touchdown parlay. Here we go. Downs, Bucky, Tyreek. Let's get Tyreek in there. Debo, and then Kevontae Turpin. I like Bucky today too. So now I'm up to 8. I'm up to Kenneth Walker, Brian Robinson, Jalen Hurts, Kareem Hunt, Josh Downs, DK Metcalf, Tyreek Hill, and Bucky Irving. I love it. Love it. Jonathan Brooks or Abdullah? Shawnee, let's go Abdullah there. Kyler or Anthony Richardson? I want Kyler today. Oh, man. Sorry, just checking a text here. All right. We're up to date here on the questions. One thing I wanted to talk about, this was coming up in the DD Fantasy Discord, and it happened overnight, and I was catching up this morning. It was a great conversation about 2025 rookie picks. So bear with me here while I touch on a really quick dynasty conversation. But before that, Hunter Henry or B-Rod. I'm blanking. Who? B-Rod. Who are we talking about there? Maybe I need more coffee here. Adam, I see in the chat. Happy Sunday. Big Diaz, appreciate you, my man. Appreciate you. I'm still trying to. All right, B-Rob. I'm like, who the hell is B-Rod? Yeah, B-Rob made sense. I'm going Brian Robinson. I like Hunter Henry today, but I love Brian Robinson. So let's go Brian Robinson. Last flex spot, Irving or Kittle, 0.5 PPR. I like Bucky this week. It's a really nice matchup against New York. Love the utilization in the red zone and toward, even closer to the end zone. Let's go Bucky over Kittle. Now that more questions are coming up, my 2025 rookie pick discussion is going to be put on hold. Froderick Estime, the lobster, Mostert, oh my God, Mostert, and Gus need one. Let's go the lobster. Need two. Jaden Reed, Pollard, Hubbard, Neighbors. Neighbors and Hubbard. Is Neighbors in or out? Neighbors is in. The only surprise inactive I saw was oh gosh, who was it? It was Coker, the wide receiver, Carolina Panthers. I didn't realize that was a possibility coming into the week. So Adam, here's a nasty one. No, it's all right. They're all pretty much nasty this week. 0.5 PPR, start one, Demario Douglas, Juju Smith-Schuster, Bateman. Douglas. Let's go Douglas there. All right. So the 2025 pick conversation, while I have a moment, and I'm going to just abruptly jump from this once we get more questions. But the conversation was centered around the lack of hype when you look at these 2025 rookie picks. And when you look at it compared to 2024, and especially just the high-end players that have come out recently, I certainly get that. A lot of value when you look at these rookie picks for any class, especially in super flex leagues. The value is driven from the strength of the quarterback position. And then you get wide receivers and, but running backs can really catapult those early picks up. You look at it with a Bijan Robinson going back to a Saquon Barkley or Ezekiel Elliott, long shot revenge game narrative, Sterling Shepard versus the Giants, anytime touchdown. I don't know if I'd have the cojones to put that in a parlay. That's a fun one, though. Tim, Brandon Allen, Gardner Minshew, Jawan Jennings, Roma Dunze, Xavier Leggett. 0.5 PPR, pick 2. Rome and you know what? Brandon Allen. Brandon Allen and Roma Dunze. That's what I'm going with. Amir Abdullah, Justice Hill, or Cam Akers. I would go Amir Abdullah as well. Aaron Jones at Chicago, JT versus Detroit. Aaron Jones. Talk about exploiting a certain position whenever you look at these defenses. Chicago, they give up the fewest points to quarterbacks, second fewest to wide receivers. They're top 10 against tight ends. Running back, they're more middle of the pack. So I would go Aaron Jones there. I think he's going to have to be heavily involved here. The 2025 rookie picks. I'll see if I get through more than 2 sentences this time before the next question pops up. And keep the questions coming. Keep the questions coming. So the 2025 rookie picks, we talk about the value really being predicated on the fact that, you look at the quarterbacks and running backs, those drive the value whenever you're in super flex leagues. Well, with Shedeur Sanders and Cam Ward being the 2 quarterbacks of note, that's not really helping the value of these picks, especially when you get to mid and later first round picks in 12-team super flex formats. D-Hop or Debo? Greg, I would go Debo. So we're looking at these picks, and the conversation was centered around not being able to move the early picks for established players that are going to be difference makers, and just the lack of hype around these picks. Every year, though, like you look at incoming rookie classes, and we're sitting here November 24th, we're going to have guys appear and really catapult themselves up, whether it's based on college playoff performances, whether it's based on combine, whether it's based on unexpected earlier draft capital. And that's going to help with these picks and build the hype. And we know that happens as the offseason progresses. Big Diaz, Swift or Amir, Marv or D-Hop? Amir and Marv. That's kind of how low I am on Swift this week. And then I think Marv, he can still have a good game there against the Seattle defense. The lack of hype with the 2025 rookie picks. It's been a lot of fun in my head going back and forth between start sit mode and trying to get through the 25 pick conversation, but just kind of as space filler here until more questions roll in. And then also just hit like on the video, please. I'll beg. Cliff says hopium season starts in the spring, and it certainly does. Adam, if you were aware of the Scott Fish Bowl League settings, I am. I'm in the playoffs here, but I think I might be ousted here in week 1. First playoff week, thoughts on Amir starting over Ertz or Jacoby? Not Ertz. I like Ertz this week. In that format, you got to go upside, and I still think the upside is with Jacoby. So I'm going to go Ertz and Jacoby. Thoughts on Keenan Allen this week in general? I am probably a little bit lower than consensus on him. I would say wide receiver 4, like lower end wide receiver 4, like lower end flex play. That's kind of where I would have him. Adam saying he's in the top 100 thanks to DD. Let's go. Well, I interpreted that as DD help and not DD hell. I was like, man, that's kind of a rude comment there. Come on. The 2025 picks. We're not necessarily seeing that rise in value right now because a lot of people, they're pushing as contenders. And if you're in a 12-team league, 6 teams make the playoffs, you probably have 8 or 9 teams that really view themselves as contenders and they're not ready to throw it in. So yes, the value of any 2025 rookie pick, it's a little deflated right now, but especially if it's presumed a later 2025 first, because that happens every year. If you were at the trade deadline or your league doesn't have a trade deadline and you were trying to move later picks last year to get some higher end players, it was tough. And that happens every single year. So the point in this conversation, and I think this is going to be something that maybe I get into a little bit more on another episode of the weekly Dynasty Theory, but it's having realistic expectations for what these picks, not necessarily what they can become from a player perspective if you use the pick, but expectation of what they can acquire in a trade. All right, from Costi. Noah Brown, Keenan Allen, and Nick Westbrook. Noah Brown and Keenan Allen. Sean, getting a lot of Trey Benson questions and Audric Estime, but I get it with Estime. You know, he's had the workload in weeks past. We're not sure how it's going to look. But again, I think Javonte could get his points and get them early. And then Audric Estime, he could still give you a few touches. I'll go Estime here. And now I'm thinking, did I have a Benson Estime question earlier and I said Benson? Well, hopefully nobody remembers either way, but let's go Estime in this situation. Patrick, I've been trading my late 25 seconds for guys like Mooney and Jennings. Yeah, those are the types of players. Well, Mooney, that's a good one because I think there's certainly value in 25 and beyond. But Jawan Jennings, those are the guys we should be targeting. It didn't play out well this week because Brock Purdy's out, and hopefully it's a shorter term injury and we see him in week 13, week 14 at the latest. But those are the guys that you should be looking to go out. It's going to be really difficult to maximize value on 2025 rookie picks and to really target a cornerstone piece. If you go out and try to offer 104, 105, 106 for a cornerstone piece right now, it's going to be challenging because and mentally, if you get a trade in your inbox and it's, who's a player that we might be looking at around the 104 value right now? Bo Nix, Brock Purdy, Achane, somewhere around there. If you get an offer of just a 25 first for any of those guys, the inbox offer is 25 first for one of those players. Even though you could easily check the standings, you could easily check max points for potential points, whatever platform you're on, and you could see, okay, that's probably going to be the 104. Mentally, there's still a block there where it's just a 25 first for one of those studs. And it's really difficult to get past that for people. So I would just, again, it's a fun conversation. And I was really upset that it was overnight and I missed the live conversation on the DD Fantasy Football Discord. Again, we got the code. So if you want to jump in, if you're not in the Discord already, jump in. It's $7.50 for the first month. If you don't like it, bounce. But we got the 8 bonus episodes. You have access to my Dynasty tiers. There's a lot of good stuff. The War Machine, the Trinity Tracker on the website. So there's resources that are constantly being updated. Adam, we're rocking with Lad on Monday Night Football. I have Gus who I can flip out. Yes, if I have anybody, I said Will Disley in an earlier start sit question was a good one that you could plug and play for Lad if necessary. I would go Lad McConkey. Like, if Lad plays 20-point fantasy week, and I think that is very realistic and in the range of outcomes. Reed or Dell? Reed. I still think this Titans secondary, they can cause issues for receiving options when it comes to fantasy purposes. Oh, man. Brandon Allen or Gardner Minshew. Brandon Allen. As gross as it is, I will go Brandon Allen. Little beer emoji. I like that. Oh, man. All right. Catch my breath here, guys. Mitch and Dan always make fun of me. It's always good to have fun at my expense. But they always say I'm trying to get my word count up in our weekly episodes of Dynasty Theory. And you can already hear my voice is getting a little scratchier as this episode's gone. I think I hit my word count today. It feels good. It feels really good. All right. CMC, I think he's going to get a ton of work, especially in the passing game. He's going to be a nice, I don't have to, nobody's going to sit CMC. This is Kyle's question here, dumps to CMC and bails him out. Yeah, I think that's definitely a realistic possibility here. I'm just happy I haven't had any coughing fits today. I'm hoping I'm past that. I think it was last week or 2 weeks ago. Thank God Mitch was on that episode because I had to turn my camera off at times. I was like, good Lord. All right, Shawnee, I think Thielen might ball out garbage time today. I like Thielen as a play. I think he is you could have worse options this week than Adam Thielen with all of the injuries. Like some of my wide receiver rooms, man, I have a lot of T. Higgins. If you had T. Higgins, we talk about the injuries, Olave, Godwin, a Christian Kirk, things are ugly. We're talking about starting Nick Westbrook in a lot of these situations. That's where we are. And Nick Westbrook, while he has a good matchup, you weren't sitting there at the beginning of the season thinking, oh my God, in week 12, I can't wait to start Nick Westbrook. But that's where we are. Coker out tells me to play Thielen, and I consider a tryout this week. Yeah, I think Thielen, as long as he's healthy, he's got something left in the tank. And the going against the Chiefs, the wide receiver position, the tight end position, tough against the running back. That's why I'm really Chuba Hubbard is one of my more difficult start sits this week. I think he gets the volume, but what is that going to look like, especially if he's not involved in the passing game, which hopefully he is, and he could still give you a nice floor. And even though it's not an efficient game, volume could certainly, even with Jonathan Brooks back, save us there. Cliff traded a late fourth for Nick. Like, I get it, man. Like, that's where we are. And like, I went through, if anybody's in the safe leagues, I'm still in a ton of them. The trade deadline was this Thursday that just passed. There are so many teams that you're looking at, and they were in playoff contention, and they just chose not to make any moves. They sat there like a bump on a log, and it blew my mind. And as gross as that trade is, like, it's a late fourth, so who cares? But sometimes just to keep you afloat in situations like that, that's what you need as a manager. So yeah, Cliff, it's fine. It's fine, man. Is KC still number one against the run? Yes, they are. They are the toughest opponent when you look at running back production against them. So yeah, still pretty tough. Still pretty tough. All right, Adam, Baker over Geno this week for the second quarterback. And oh, man. I would go Geno. I think it's going to be a higher scoring game. I think the Buccaneers, they control that game early against the Giants. I know it's always, you never know how things are going to play out whenever you have a change, whether it's a quarterback, whether it's the OC, head coach, whatever. But I think really nice Bucky game, Rashad White game. Still going to get some involvement from Baker, but I think Geno gives you a little bit more opportunity there to give you a higher ceiling. So I'm going to go Geno. Yeah, dude, Costi, I sent out so many trades in safe leagues and got like 4 deals done. And you, like, even in the offers, like, hey, trade deadline is today. Like, I was getting deals done and very few. So I'm right there with you, Costi, getting few deals done. And in the comments, I'm like, trade deadline today. I had somebody update a trade bait in a league after the trade deadline. Probably weren't paying attention because they said, like, looking for blah, blah, blah. Trade deadline passed, dude. D-Hop, Debo, or Ridley PPR? Ridley. I was reading another comment here. That's why I hesitated. Otherwise, there's no hesitation for me. Give me Ridley. Adam, it's hard for me because I started Geno 3 times over Baker. It's backfired every time. Who's your other quarterback? If you're deciding between Geno and Baker, like, that's a really... I mean, it's a good situation to have because you got 2 really nice quarterback 2s. And I say Baker's a quarterback 2. Baker's a top 5 quarterback on the season. Lamar's your other quarterback. Yeah. I would go Geno. I really would go Geno in this situation. I'm out. The homemade cookies just got done. Let's go. Good luck in fishbowl playoffs. All right. Yeah, this is going to be, I started my diet, I think 50 times in the last couple months. Probably going to restart it again tomorrow because I think it's going to be a bad food kind of day, which typically it's a bad food kind of day for me. Possibly the last question here. I got to say thank you to everybody. The chat was absolutely on fire today. Without each and every one of you, there's no conversations. There's certainly no questions to answer. It would be me rambling, even though I was rambling, it would be me rambling about nonsense. So each and every one of you that participated in the conversation here, I genuinely want to say thank you because it's not easy whenever I'm missing Dan and Mitch and stuck here flying solo, but you guys made the 90 minutes absolutely fly by. So thank you very much. B Hart, Bucky or JK, ending on this. Well, okay. Not ending on this, but I will go Bucky over JK. In PPR with 0.5 points for first down. Any thought to starting a skill player over Richardson? I am. This is a caveman like thought and attitude towards it. I still find it very tough to not start a quarterback in the super flex spot. And again, it is it's one of those dumb things where, hey, it's been that way. So I'm going to keep doing it. And probably one of my bigger flaws, even though that list of flaws is very, very long, I would still play Richardson. Hawkinson or Henry, give me Hunter Henry. Cliff, good luck to you too. Again, seriously, thank you guys so much. This was an absolute blast. The 90 minutes flew by. I hope you all enjoyed the conversations and a lot of the conversations stemming from the chat. Check out the Dynasty Theory, I almost said. The DD Fantasy Football Discord. The code is in the episode description below. The link is below. Click the link. It's $7.50 for the first month. Come check it out. 8 bonus episodes, access to my Dynasty tiers, the War Machine, the Trinity Tool, a lot of the wide receiver conversations we have, whether it's on the Start Sit Show every Sunday or in the weekly episodes of Dynasty Theory, are steered towards and steered from things taken away from the Trinity Tool that are available only at ddfantasyfootball.com. So come check it out. Drop a like. It helps us out again. Thank you guys. Best of luck in week 12. And then we're going to catch you guys next week. I'm solo again next week. So hopefully most of you return. I didn't scare too many of you away. Have a great week, everybody. Peace.